Podcast. Hey guys, it is Ashley,
Lauren,
and Naz,
and it's the day after Thanksgiving. Funny story: my dad catered Thanksgiving last night. My parents did, and we didn't think we were going to have it because the food came 3 hours late. And well, that's our update for the week.
It's an amazing story, Ash.
It's a good story. Could you have made it better?
I probably wouldn't have told it in the first place, but you know.
Well, I just felt weird just like jumping into things.
You guys know what I think is weird? A little, I don't get it. I had this morning. I was shaving in the shower, and I don't get like how the blades, I know they can cut your skin, but like they don't cut your skin.
Right.
They just cut the hair on a razor. And I'm like,
weird.
That is so weird how I'm like putting a blade to my flesh, not cutting myself. That's so weird to me. I don't get it.
That actually is pretty weird.
That is weird. I guess it's the direction you're going because, like, men have those one-bladed razors and they don't cut them as long as they're going not, like, sideways.
Right.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all about
it's
the
all
direction.
About the direction. You're right. Because if you do, like,
if you
mess
go
up and then you...
Yeah.
Ow!
But also how terrifying is that?
I know. Yeah, guys in their faces and their necks, like, they have so much more of a risk while shaving than we do.
Yeah.
Oh,
so much more. Okay.
So weird. So what are we doing today?
So today we have Brandi Cyrus, Miley and Noah Cyrus's sister. She's going to talk about their crazy, I'm imagining, family dynamic. And
what it's like
growing up as a Cyrus. Yeah. I mean, like, Billy Ray is her dad. He adopted her at a young age, and I was just obsessed with Achy Breaky Heart. Like, I don't even think you were born as. Do you even know what Achy Breaky Heart is?
Yeah, I think everyone knows Achy Breaky Heart. So famous.
Right, I refused to dance to anything in my dance class to that song.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was just like the highlight of dance class.
And
she
also,
never went a day without it.
She also has a show with her mom, about interior design.
Yeah, on HGTV.
Ooh, that's such a fun show.
We should have watched that show.
Yes.
We didn't watch it.
And Lauren, I was looking on the internet. She's also an actress, and she was in this horror movie, which sounds amazing.
Well, when did it come out?
It came out 2 years ago.
Well, let me do a little research.
And the plot is so sick because Lauren loves horror movies. I forget what it's called. It's something 37. But apparently it's like these guys that would listen in on 911 calls, and then they would go get the hopeless victims and like torture them.
What?
Isn't that's actually a great idea for a horror movie.
That's insane.
That is sick.
I'm curious to know like what Brandi played. I wonder if she played a victim.
I have a feeling she was a victim. I'm not like stereotyping here, but she's like a pretty young girl.
She could be a pretty young paramedic though.
No, she was such a victim. Look, that Cyrus face is like the doe-eyed. It's like perfect for
being a victim.
Murdered.
Well, anyone could be perfect for being murdered.
All right, well, let's call her up and
Wait,
ask her.
I do also want to say that she's like 30 and single and doesn't want to leave the house, much like me. So we'll talk to her about her struggling single life as well.
She's one of us.
She is one of us. She could be the fourth I Don't Get It girl. All right, ready? Let's do it. All right, Brandi, welcome to the I Don't Get It podcast. You have a podcast of your own with Wells.
I do. I'm about to kick his butt off of it, though.
Why?
So, unfortunately for me, well, it's actually fortunate for me in some ways, but so Wells is the one that records it, edits it, and posts it, right? Because he's the radio guy and he's got all the stuff or whatever, and he does it pretty quick.
Right.
But that means that if he's not up for doing it one week, I am just SOL and can't do it myself,
Oh, so you can't fly solo and be like, hey, you know what?
Can't.
I am going to get a co-host this week. That's not you.
Well, you can find someone else who can edit and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Wait, so Brandi, you guys don't post every week? You just kind of do it whenevs?
Yeah, we're really bad about it. And we've been semi bad about it just because we've both been traveling so much. And now we've gone about 3 weeks, which is right now like without one, which is the longest we've ever gone. And it's kind of Wells's fault.
Well, if you ever feel like podcast lonely, you can always call in R.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, we were saying before you came on that you could really be the fourth member of the I Don't Get It podcast. Similar personality, similar millennial life struggles.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
No. Wait, speaking of that, can you talk about your Raya date from the other day? And just like how we were just talking about that complication of like some of those guys on there feel like they don't have to develop personalities.
Yeah. Well, so that's okay. Here's like the catch-22 about Raya for me.
Should we
it's
explain
like,
what that is?
Everyone listening, Raya is a dating app, but can you guys kind of explain how you have to be accepted in?
It's like highly exclusive. Brandi, you explain.
Okay, so Raya is this dating app. Like to put it to put it like blankly, it's like literally for people that have an Instagram following.
It's like for
which
influencers.
Sucks. It's for influencers. I mean, they really like targeted it for like creatives, like people that don't work, normal jobs because we have a harder time meeting people. So for me, the upside of dating somebody that's quote unquote Instagram semi-famous is I would like to think that if somebody has enough of something going on their own, they're not going to fangirl about going on a date with Miley's sister. Because that's always my biggest fear is like someone's just going to go on a date with me or hook up with me or whatever just so they can turn around and be like, oh, I hooked up with Miley's sister. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's just a very real situation that I'm in. So, you'd like to think going out on a Raya date with a really attractive guy that's got 1.1 million Instagram followers isn't going to care about my 900,000 Instagram followers.
Oh my God, this is like the most millennial conversation.
So whatever. So like this guy, I actually had Raya like a year ago when it came or whenever it came out. And then I didn't have it for the past like 9 months and decided on a whim because I was in LA so much, I was going to like re-download it. And I had like 3 messages waiting from this guy. And then clicked on his profile. He's very good looking. He's not really my type. But I'm 30 and I'm single, so I'm trying to like branch out here, right? Like he's a little too blonde for me.
You and I are the same person.
You're like at that age where you're like, oh, whatever. If he has 2 legs and he likes me back.
Yep.
I mean, he's a very attractive guy. He models, I think, for a living. So that's just, I assume. So I'll get to that. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna hit this guy back. Wrote him back. He hit me back immediately, and he was like, do you want to grab coffee while you're in town? Coffee date's perfect for me. I can't eat on a date because I'm so messy. Drinks give me anxiety because if I have more than 2, I'm drunk. And
that's me.
You're amazing.
Yeah. So he's like, he wants to pick me up. He's like, oh, yeah, can I come get you? And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm running around Hollywood. I will meet you somewhere. So we meet at Jones on 3rd.
Oh,
classic.
And I show up and I'd been running around like to showrooms that morning. So I had on heels and whatever. And I was like, gosh, I hope he's not shorter than me, like all the things. So I show up, he's already there. He's sitting inside and he's a little less cute in person, to be honest. And he stands up and he's pretty friggin' short.
Really?
And I was like,
I did not know
this is already starting off badly. But like he was sweet and like whatever. So he buys my coffee. We sit outside, and the minute we sit down, like he just starts talking, and he talked for like an hour straight. I hardly got in a word, which I'm usually okay with. I like being the listener, but I just remember sitting there, and after an hour, I was like, I really don't know anything about you. I'm bored. I keep like my mind keeps drifting to like where I'm going after this. I'm waiting for the hour to be up, and I still don't know what he does.
So he didn't engage with you at all? Like he didn't ask you anything? Oh my God.
No, didn't ask questions for sure. Didn't hardly ask any questions, and just like talked about just very like surface level things, which I get like on a first hang, like that's fine. But I don't know. Like I was bored, and it wasn't engaging to me. I didn't feel like I related to him at all, and I was just disappointed in that. Yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't. It was
Did he hit you up afterwards?
Oh yeah, immediately after.
Wow. So he had a good
like,
time.
what are you doing Friday? I mean, okay, so you would think. So then it gets better. So I don't even know if I told you guys this the other night. So that night that we were at the Maybelline event, that's where I saw Ashley, and I was telling you about this date. So I was with my agent, Sarah. I think you got to meet her.
Yeah.
And I was telling her about this date. And I was like, yeah, this guy, like, he has 1 million Instagram followers. I don't even know what he does on Raya. And she goes, wait, what's his name?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I showed her his Instagram profile, and she was like, oh my God. She was like, Becca from my office just went on a date with this guy on Tuesday. Yes.
So the smallest world, or he's going on a zillion
No, he's going on a
rounds.
zillion dates.
He is going on a zillion dates, and like one of the few
And not letting
things
anyone talk.
No. And guys, one of the few things I remember him saying to me is in our conversation, he's from Europe. He's like from Germany. And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, people in LA, like, they date a bunch of people at once. Like, what's with that?
No. He did not say
So he was
that.
just trying to
be
He's
American.
just doing whatever LA people do. Does he have an accent?
He has an accent, yeah, but I'm usually really bad at understanding people with accents, but I could understand him fine. Like, he was fine. But he legitimately sat there and said to me, like, I can't believe people do that. And I was like, yeah, like, I don't do that. You know, I grew up in the South. Like, we don't do that. I've never dated more than one guy once. And he was like, yeah, me neither. Like, I would never do that. And then I find out the next day that he's totally making the Raya rounds and lied to me about it.
Raya
And that's funny that you already had messages waiting for him when you re-downloaded the app.
Yeah.
So he's been waiting for a while.
I was telling you
I bet he's one that's just messages everyone and sees who will like meet up with them. You know what I mean?
Right. But it was interesting the way he texted you. It was like, what about Friday?
I know. And I was like, busy. I'm going to basketball
Okay, so you're doing the busy deal.
Right.
You're
so you
saying,
never
but like,
talked
it's
or
not
saw
a
him
lie.
again.
No, it's not a lie.
So if your life is anything like our lives, it probably revolves around food. And I just want to reiterate how hard it is to have to come up with like fun gift ideas for people. Like I'm so that person that buys everyone a gift card because I never know what to get people. But thanks to Bon Appetit magazine, it has given me such a fun gift idea to give to a lot of my relatives, especially my mom. I got this for my mom. And anyone else in your life whose life revolves around food. Because let's be real, what else is there to do that's that amazing? So what we're offering now is a year-long subscription to Bon Appetit magazine, and the magazine is great. It's a dream for food lovers because every issue features cooking, which has the latest food trends, videos, and recipes. There's also a travel and events section, and they have city guides filled with recommendations. And each year they name the hot 10, the best new restaurants in the U.S. that you guys can check out. So if you like to travel, it's so fun to like look at this list and go try out a new restaurant that's like rated very high. So right now we have an exclusive offer for our podcast listeners. For a limited time, you can give a subscription to Bon Appetit magazine for $5 off. And it's a gift that keeps giving all year long because it's a year-long subscription. Plus, you'll get a really cool Bon Appetit tote bag. So it's the perfect gift set for the cooks and food lovers in your life. All you guys have to do is use the promo code GET-IT and start shopping at bonappetit.com/getba. Brandi, what's dating like in Nashville?
Yeah, what's the difference?
I think Nashville's terrible to date.
Really?
Because, yeah, I mean, I'm from here. So it's hard. Like, the town is very small. I don't know if you guys have been or spent much time here, but it's a very, very small city. And that's what people like about it is that, like, everybody knows each other and it's a small community, but that makes it really hard to date. Because it's not only do you feel like you know everyone, it's hard to meet anybody new, but if you do meet somebody new, they've like dated your best friend or like hooked up with your best friend's sister or so. It's like, it's just very
It's incestual.
It's just like that song, Dating in a Small Town.
That's what it's inspired by.
I would think
is.
Nashville's, I guess, for outsiders' perspective, I would think like guys are like way more willing to settle down there than LA, but maybe not because a lot of people move to Nashville for their music career
Nashville's
too.
very metropolitan now.
It is, but I think you're right. They do want to settle down, and the problem is they settle down at like 25.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
most
Brandi,
of
you'll
my
get them when
friends
they
are
go through
married.
their first divorce then.
Oh my God. Like, no lie. Like, my ex-boyfriend, he was divorced with a kid. Like, I mean, that's what you get at 30, I guess, is everybody, like your options are just limited.
Do you think that the guys are more attractive in LA or Nashville?
I honestly, like, the LA and Nashville type is not for me. Okay. Like, I don't like the tight jeans, leather jacket, like
the Luke Pells
of
the world
all the time. Like, I can't. Like, I like a good like Midwest. Like, I look like I hike on the weekends. I've got dark hair and scruffy face, and I don't know. Like, I like more of like a rugged guy that's like into football and basketball and sports and stuff.
Who's gonna like ride the horse with you?
He doesn't have to ride the horse, but he has to at least like come to the barn every now and then and be supportive of my horse hobby.
Okay,
what
so
does
we're
that
talking
mean?
not about a figurative
but
horse.
Are you sure you don't want Luke Pell?
Are we talking about the bed or a real horse?
Wait, what?
She's talking about the real horse, Naz.
Yeah, I have a real horse. And yeah, like I can't have somebody that's gonna like come to the barn and like I don't want to get my shoes dirty or like ew, your horse slobbered on my nice leather jacket. Like, get out of here.
Despite the difference in your type when it comes to like LA and Nashville and like those not being good for your type of man, do you notice that the dating manners are any different?
I mean, yeah, guys here, like I was shocked that guy in LA even like offered to come pick me up. Like I don't think that's normal for LA. Like in Nashville, guys, they want to pick you up, they want to take you out, they want to open the door for you. Like I do think there is that Southern hospitality ingrained in people here. And a lot of the transplants in Nashville, I feel like are from the Midwest and they have those same values. And I don't know, like it is because Nashville's smaller. It's harder to date multiple people at once. Whereas in LA, I feel like guys are just, I don't know, they get away with being a lot douchier because they're in LA.
That's probably
what I mean?
True. We get a lot of emails from listeners saying that, like, I love your podcast, but I can't relate because I'm from the South and, like, I've never encountered stuff.
I've never encountered a fuckboy before.
Yeah, don't know what a fuckboy is.
Yeah, I mean, in LA, it's that mentality of like, well, if this doesn't work out, there's like a prettier girl around the corner or another girl around the corner. You know what I
So
mean? And like, I feel like that's what guys think, and because it's that's where all the pretty girls are, and I don't know, it's just annoying.
I need to mention this one thing about the last time I was on a Raya date, just before we wrap up this dating conversation, because my one and only Raya date, within an hour of knowing him, he asked me, quote, when the last time I was laid. When was the last time you were laid?
Old-fashioned terms.
So
Such an LA thing to ask.
So that I ran away from that, to be quite honest. Yeah,
I'd be like, I have to go.
Yeah, I have a place that I love to get beef and sausage from. It is Omaha Steaks. Guys, a couple months ago, Lauren and I got this box of Omaha Steaks delivered. I made everything in the world that I love to eat. I made the best cheeseburgers, the best tacos. Oh, it came with au gratin potatoes, which were delightful. Honestly, I preferred this than a meal at a fancy steakhouse.
Let me tell you about Omaha Steaks and how for only $49.99 you can get my family gift pack when you go to omahasteaks.com and enter my code GETIT, GETIT, in the search bar. That's 75% off.
They're giving us an exclusive savings just for our listeners. This is what you're going to get for less than $50. 2 filet mignons, 2 top sirloins, 2 boneless pork chops, 4 boneless chicken breasts, 4 kielbasa sausages, 4 burgers, 4 au gratin potatoes, 4 caramel apple tartlets, 1 Omaha seasoning packet, and an additional 4 kielbasa sausages for free. That is an amazing deal, guys. This is just one of those sponsors that we love so much because they feed us, and they feed us really good food. We highly recommend it.
Go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code GETIT, GETIT, in the search bar and get a 75% savings. It's a gift guaranteed to be a hit.
Brandi, I feel like growing up in your family, I'm just assuming that it's harder for you to date or maybe bring someone home than the average. Maybe not, and you could say if it isn't. But like, for example, the last guy that you said that you dated that like was divorced and had a kid, like, have you introduced anyone to your parents? And like, what is that like, bringing someone into the Cyrus family?
Yeah, it was easier when I was younger for whatever reason. I think that I mean, honestly, I'm probably just more jaded now and more aware of like the negative things people probably, think and do or whatever, as far as the mentality of like my family. Cause like when I was younger, I was just way more trusting and way more naive about like, oh no, he wouldn't date me because of that or whatever. But like the ex that I was talking about with the kid, I actually knew him in high school. So, and that was probably one of the reasons why I gravitated towards him, was because I knew him before. And I see that a lot. Like I have a lot of friends in music and stuff, and I see that a lot where people, especially guys for whatever reason, gravitate towards girls that they knew before they were famous because they think like, oh, they really love me for me and not because of my fame, because they knew me before. So like that guy, I had no problem bringing around my family because I'd known him so long and he'd met some of them before and it just didn't seem like a big deal. But that guy, I mean, that guy, that was 2.5 years ago. And I've changed more in the past 2 years than ever before. And that now, like, I wouldn't just bring anyone around my family for sure. It's like now, like, I feel like somebody's got to prove themselves a little bit more, probably just because I've been burnt so many times in the past.
Earlier in the podcast, you mentioned that you're afraid of going on dates with fanboys. Do you have any fanboy stories?
I feel like you actually, you have to feel this way too a little bit. People are just going to want, like, I don't have any stories. That's probably like, I don't go on dates because I'm just afraid of that, which I probably miss out on a lot because of that fear. But I don't know. It's just something that's just, I don't know if that's because I've heard other people talk about other semi-famous people like that. Like, I don't know. That would be the most like devastating thing to me in the world, is for that to get around, you know? No, I don't sleep around or anything like that, just because I was raised conservatively, and I've never done that. But even if I thought about doing that, like even when I am out or whatever and I think about hooking up with somebody, like I usually don't, just because I would never want them to go and that get out like, oh, I hooked up with a Cyrus. You know what I mean? That just like terrifies me. So I just
that's
don't do
so
it.
annoying. You're so constricted.
It's terrible.
I'm just thinking how I could literally go out and just have sex with whoever I want. You know, and it wouldn't
I'm sure
matter.
you could go have sex with whoever you want.
I know. I'm saying like I feel
Nice.
bad, Brandi. I feel bad. You can't do that.
Come on.
Oh my gosh. And people just, you know, like, I'm not one to like hide stuff. So like having like a secret like relationship sounds terrible to me. Like,
Right.
I don't know. But, and so like, you know, literally a boyfriend I had a decade ago when I was 20, like some magazine literally ran like last year some ridiculous story about me and my boyfriend at 20 years old, and how Miley tried to steal him from me.
Oh my
and they had like
God.
stalked his Twitter. He's married now, like stalked his Twitter, reached out to him to ask him about it. Like people just make up the dumbest stuff. So like it's so tempting to say like, all right, the next relationship I'm in, I'm just gonna like hide it from the world or whatever. But that sounds terrible. Like I'm just not somebody that keeps secrets and hides stuff. Like I'm very open. So like I don't know. I just really like struggle with all that.
That's hilarious. We got to talk about your dad and how he is when you bring guys home.
Oh gosh, my dad
The Billy Ray
is-
Cyrus for
I
everybody
know.
listening.
Billy Ray, man, he is such a character. He is like, everybody loves him. Like, he's so easy to get along with, but he's also very passive. Like, both my parents are very, very passive. So, like, when I bring a guy home to meet my dad, he'll be like super cool, super chill, super fun. Like, everybody always loves him. But he never, like, really, like, goes beneath the surface with anybody. It like takes him a really, really long time. And to be honest, every boyfriend I've had, by the time my dad gets to a point where I feel like he would open up to somebody, the dude has done something wrong to make my dad hate him.
Right.
And then like that's the thing, like my dad is, he's so like chill and smooth sailing until there's something wrong, like until the guy does something bad, and then he just flips out.
Have
You
you
know what
ever
I mean?
kept a secret from your parents, like when you're dating a guy and they do something bad? I feel like a lot of girls like don't want their parents to know stuff because they're like, I don't want my parents to hate him.
Exactly.
So they don't
Yeah.
tell
I always
stuff.
tell about Lauren's bad boyfriend
Yeah,
behavior.
Ashley already blabbers before I can tell him, although I wouldn't have
That
told
I would
them.
never
sucks.
tell them.
I feel like a
Oh
lot
my
of girls
gosh.
do that. Have you ever done that, Brandi?
Well, I mean, okay, so like my family and I, like, we're very close. My mom's my best friend, so I typically tell her everything, which means she tells my dad. And if I tell Miley, she tells my mom, who tells my dad. Like there's no keeping secrets in the family at all. It's terrible. But like there's a lot of things I would like to keep from my dad that I wouldn't necessarily keep from my mom, but the problem is she tells him. You know what I mean? So like it's terrible. So like I'll like I don't know, like I was like 26 or whatever. The last like really serious relationship I was in, where I was like in love, the guy, you know, broke my heart, all that kind of thing. I had told my mom everything that was going on, and I was like, you know, I was living in LA at the time. The guy was in Nashville, and I was like, yeah, like so and so told me that he went to Atlanta and was hanging out with another girl, and like I don't know what to do, whatever. And so I was like, I'm gonna fly to Nashville tomorrow and like confront him about it. We got to figure this out, kind of thing. And I would never tell my dad that. And my mom told my dad, and the next morning he came out into the driveway and was like, I can't let you go. You're absolutely not going. You're not letting a guy treat you like that. If you see another girl, like absolutely not. Like flipped out, and I was just and I didn't go, and we never worked that out because he knew, you know what I mean? So like in hindsight, it's good. I shouldn't have been with him anyway, but at the time I was so furious because I wanted to go and like talk to this guy face to face, and my dad like totally.
So
put a
you
stop to
did
it.
you did go?
She didn't go.
I did not go.
Oh,
No, I
so then
didn't
how
go.
resolved it?
They never resolved. So you just broke up?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't. We like took a break for a few months, and then I ended up being in Nashville and seeing him again. We got back together, and it was like a whole nightmare. And then he ended up cheating on me again 2 years down the road. It was terrible.
God.
My dad was right. I should have just
Dads
cut
are
it
right.
off then.
We'll never learn.
See, dads are usually
We'll never learn.
90%
That's the thing
right.
is, my parents are both always right about everything, so that's why like I hate hiding stuff from them because they're usually right. Like my dad has really great intuition about people, and my mom, like I don't know, she's just got that mom like I'm always right thing.
Do all the kids have the same close relationship to your parents as you do?
We do. I think the girls probably more so. Like both my brothers, they kind of do their own thing, and um, like me and Miley and Noah, we're always together, and we're at events and doing stuff together. And Trace and Brazen just like literally don't leave their house unless they have to, like unless Trace is on the road or Brazen's in the studio, like they just don't ever leave. And so they're both like just way more laid back and antisocial, and because they're not around my parents as much, I feel like they don't tell them as much. Whereas me and Miley and Noah just like blab it all.
Are you the only one in the family that didn't pursue music?
Fun fact, I did pursue music like 8 years ago. I was in a band. And we were signed to Interscope, and I toured for about 4 years. Yeah, it was crazy. And
what was the band called, Brandi?
It was called Frank and Daryl.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact.
That's
we were like a cool like indie pop band, like before indie pop bands became mainstream. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
before Imagine Dragons in Portugal, the band
way before
started
Imagine
performing
Dragons.
at the AMA.
Way before.
Tell us about your
we
true.
made it a point to we made it a point to not want to be mainstream because I never wanted to compete with Miley.
Right.
So we like went over the top on trying to be like cool indie band that no one had ever heard of.
Do you have any music videos?
We made no money.
I like want to YouTube.
We made one that Interscope never released. So the reason the band broke up, which ended up being a good thing because I didn't love it the way like I wanted to love it, but Interscope Records that signed us, like we spent a year and a half making a record, did the video, did the whole deal, and then had just started going on the road. And right when they were supposed to release our record, Interscope like went through a complete overhaul and fired a shit ton of people. And then all the new team that came in ended up coming in and dropping a ton of bands because they weren't invested in them. So like usually when someone signs you to a label, they kind of take you under their wing. So the guy that signed us left, and then we were just kind of like in limbo. And we're one of the many bands that got dropped at that time.
That sucks. Well, just email Jimmy Iovine to release a music video.
Well, make sure that's how we advertise for this podcast.
I bet you can find something up online if you look like there's some video teasers out and like live videos and stuff.
So does that mean that you write music?
I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do it with your sisters?
Miley and I wrote a song on I can't remember which record, to be honest with you. It's called "Take Me Along." It was on.
Yeah, we know it.
Oh,
okay,
it's a great one. Oh my god,
so
that was the most underrated album of hers.
Oh my gosh, I love that record too. And we wrote that on the tour bus on the Jonas Brothers tour. Yeah,
so much jealousy in this room.
And then like that we wrote that when we were really young, and then a couple years later is when she put it on that record, and then she was writing with a producer named John Shanks, and so they went in and redid the arrangement and added music to it. But she and I wrote that on an acoustic guitar in her tour bus.
That's an amazing song.
She wrote it about Nick.
Yeah, so it's about Nick. We can get that confirmed. Okay,
it's definitely about Nick. I
can't wait to listen to it now because it was a couple years
mad.
removed from Nick, so you weren't quite sure at the time of the album release.
Right. You never know.
Because we'd written it so long ago. Like we were literally on that Jonas Brothers tour. So
tell us about that. Can you talk to us about that Hannah Montana tour, because it's where we met our best friend, and we have a very soft spot for that place. That tour, what was it? Ignited a passion, a love, and a great friendship.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, honestly, like those times were like, they were just so fun. You know, like I was still young enough, and Miley was definitely young enough to where like, you're no adult worries in the world. Like I was just like living on the tour bus with them.
So cool.
And I played guitar for quote unquote Hannah Montana. So like when Miley played as Hannah, I was her guitar player.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, that's how I started playing guitar. And so I was out on the road, and it was just so fun because Miley and Nick were together for most of that, for pretty much all that tour, I feel like.
So cool.
At 15 years old.
Yeah, and then Kevin and I were really good friends, and Joe had a girlfriend that we all hung out with, and so it was
Who
like
was Joe's girlfriend
like
at the time? Before he dated Taylor, which was later in that year.
It was this like girl. Her name, I think her name was Amelia, and she was just a
yeah,
model. She was
Amelia.
Australian.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
We
Amelia.
hated Amelia.
We hated her.
I love that you guys know this. That's insane.
I wanted to be Amelia so bad. I was like, I
Actually,
could never
Lauren
be that
knows
natural.
Joe
everything.
wrote a lot of songs about Amelia.
That's right.
Yeah, Amelia. So we were all out on the road. We spent Christmas in New York that year because they were playing, they had like 3 shows back to back right around Christmas. So we all stayed in like the Trump Tower apartments or whatever, and the Jonases were around the corner.
So did we.
We know where you
stalking
stayed.
you.
Oh my God, stop.
All the paparazzi like videos of Jonas walking in the Trump
we were there.
up those stairs.
We were at the Trump.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Also, we were there at New Year's Eve. That's where we were really like, this Jonas thing. I think we should really get on this train.
Get on board. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Brandi, are you closer to like Miley or one sister over another? Or are you guys just like all super close?
And Noah's so young that like, how do you have such a close relationship with a sister that's 12 years younger than you?
Yeah. So, like, truly, honestly, Noah and I are the closest of all of us.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy because of the age gap. But it's weird because, so I don't know if you guys know, but like my dad, when I was in high school, my dad was on a TV show in Toronto. And so he lived in Toronto for 4 years. And for the first 2 years, the whole family stayed in Nashville, and we would drive up and back because my mom was scared to fly, and we'd see him and spend holidays there and stuff. And then the final 2 years, my mom moved up there and took Miley, Brazen, and Noah. And they all went to school in Toronto for a few years. Actually, I think Miley was homeschooled because she was on the show. But Trace and I stayed behind because I didn't want to leave my school and my horses and like all that. So we stayed with my grandmother for those 2 years. Oh. And so Noah was so young then, like, and they lived in Toronto that like I really didn't have any kind of relationship with Noah at all until I moved to LA when I was 20. And Noah and I just weren't very close. I had spent 0 time with her as a kid. And then a few years after me being in LA, she decided she wanted to start taking riding lessons. And I actually had stopped riding because I was in my band at the time. And so when she started riding horses, no one else knew anything about it except me because I was the one that had done it my whole life. So I was the one that started taking her to riding lessons. Aww. And then the trainer was like, hey, I have an extra horse if you want to ride. So I started riding again. And then she and I just started bonding over that. We would go to the barn every single day and take riding lessons together. And then as she started to take it more seriously, we would start horse showing together, and we'd be gone for weeks at a time. We'd go up and down like the West Coast and travel the horse show circuit. So for like 4 to 5 years, we did that, and that really, really bonded us like in just an unbelievable way. And so we were super close because of that.
What's really weird is that you have like a face for horse riding. Like you just like look like the perfect equestrian.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Really? Explain.
I know. What is
a long strawberry blonde ponytail?
I think you're thinking of Michelle
Tanner.
That
must be it.
Michelle Tanner. Yeah, because I think of Charlotte from Sex and the City.
Oh, okay.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think of like
funny.
a brunette, actually.
That's true. That's
funny.
Mary-Kate actually still rides.
Oh my
wow.
God.
That's why they incorporated so many horses in their movies?
The fact that you just gave us a tidbit of that is
yeah.
so cool.
Google
what
it.
other celebrities ride horses?
I just love
Google
Mary-Kate
Olsen. Google Mary-Kate Olsen Hampton Classic. She shows at it every year.
Oh, wow.
What I would give to just talk to them now.
I know. I saw them once. Like I was in the same room as them, and I about died.
Oh my God. Well, Brandi,
like,
obviously your dad, was like famous growing up. So you guys were like used to it. But for people like in our age group, I feel like Hannah Montana really was like what made us start paying attention to your amazing family. I mean, I remember going to see the movie. Do you remember a specific day where you were like, whoa, like this is huge? Like a specific day or moment where you suddenly realized how famous you guys really were?
Gosh, that's so hard to answer because it's all such a freaking blur. And I don't know, like, I think for realizing how famous Miley was and how insane that was, like when Miley, before she was 16 and she couldn't drive, I mean, I drove her everywhere, and she and I were really close at that point, and we would shop every day and hang every day, and I was on set with her every day. And so driving around, like for a few years, the paparazzi situation was very, 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 very bad. Mm-hmm. To where like 20 to 25 of them would sit outside my parents' house and wait for us to leave. They would follow us everywhere we went. We'd come out of a store and they'd swarm us. And like, there were times when it was scary, especially to drive with all those people following you around LA and the track. Like, it was just very scary. And so there were a couple of those moments where it was kind of like, holy crap, like this is something that we never dealt with my dad. We were living in Nashville where the laws are different and you can't do that. So I think for me, like dealing with all that paparazzi stuff when she was so young was probably a big eye opener to like how big of a celebrity she'd become.
Excuse the interruption, but I need to talk a little bit about food for a second. We all love talking about food. HelloFresh knows around this time of year, their customers are busier than ever. With the holiday season creeping towards, chaos and a very hectic shopping schedule, there's a festive hustle and bustle, and you should take this time of year to enjoy that and not have to concentrate so much on like what you're going to make for dinner or like having to be creative about dinner, because HelloFresh is going to do that for you. You guys, Lauren and I love HelloFresh because whenever it comes to our door, we know that we have dinner for a few nights and we know that we're going to get fed within like a half an hour of starting to cook our meal. It's also delicious. Like I've never eaten a HelloFresh meal and been like, that was all right. No, they're all so good. HelloFresh does the shopping, the planning, and the delivery. So all you have to do is the hustle bustle and enjoy yourself during this jolly time of year. If you want to provide your family home cooked meals during this hectic holiday season, but you want to make it easy and you want to make it fast, then go to HelloFresh.com, enter the code IDGI30. That is like, I don't get it, 30. IDGI 30 for $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. Highly recommend this service. Okay, do you have anything? What else were you going to say?
I was going to say,
I have two good wrap-up questions.
I was going to ask if your true passion is horror movies, because we saw that you were in a very bizarre Old 37 movie.
Yeah, that was actually
Old 37.
That's what it's called.
Old 37. So were you the victim? Yeah. We didn't see it, but I will be watching it this evening because I'm the biggest horror fan.
Yeah, and it sounds like an amazing plot. Like, what a great plot.
I only go see horror movies.
Yeah. So it was an independently made movie. So, you got to take that for what it is. But the way that worked is that I was in my band at the time, and our publicist, she was dating a guy. They're now married, but she was dating a guy that writes movie scripts, and specifically horror genre is like his thing. And my mom is a movie producer too. I don't know if you guys know that. But,
I didn't. Trish does it all.
She really does. Like, so she had a production company and was making film and TV, and they knew that. And like, I would like help her read scripts and my mom and I, like, we read books and like, that's kind of like one of our things we like bond over. And so she would always pass me scripts to read. So this publicist was like, hey, my boyfriend wrote this horror script. Like, would you mind reading it? We just love to know what you think. And so I read it, and the plot is what really like struck me. I was like, this is a really cool original idea. I've never heard anything like it.
Yeah.
It's
really
so
cool. Good.
It sounds so creepy.
It's good, and it's borderline. I was like, "Why are you dating this guy?" This is insane.
That's actually
it's like Jennifer Lawrence with Darren. What's his name?
Yeah, but he's like the nicest guy. Like, you would never know like that's the kind of stuff he comes up with. It's so funny. So once I read it and liked it, she was like, "I'm so glad you love it. Would you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I would love that." Because I've done like small like guest star appearances here and there as a kid, but I'd never done anything like with like a real like movie role before. So I was like, yeah, I would be honored to be in it. She's like, all right, we're raising money, and we'll let you know like when we get it all figured out. And so like a year and a half, 2 years later, there's a band called Shepherd. Do you guys know that band?
I've never heard of Shepherd.
They had like one big radio hit last year. I can't remember the name of it, but they're an Australian band, and their parents is who funded the movie. So they were actually in the movie also.
Oh, cool.
But once it got funded, they were like, all right, like, read over the scripts. Like, we want to know what role, like, you feel like you want in this. And
so
happy
they
to,
let
like,
you
give
choose?
It to you. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I picked like the smallest one because I like never want to do anything I'm not capable of. Like, if I'm going to do something, I just want to do it well instead of like take on something I'm not qualified to do. So I took on this role of this girl Angel. It was a smaller supporting role, and she's kind of there's a friend group, right? And she's the one that like gets along with everybody. She's like the artsy girl that ends up dating the jock, but she's still friends with the loser crowd, but she's hanging with the popular crowd. And so like I felt like that was very me. Like I'm very friends with everybody. I want everybody to get along. I don't like not including people in things, and so I picked her because of that. And I get to do a cool little like stunt in the movie, and you guys should watch it. It's good.
Are you a victim though?
Yeah, are you a
we need
victim?
to know if you're
Were you tortured a little bit?
I'm a victim, but it's not a gruesome. And
Oh,
so
okay, that's
yeah,
unfortunate.
I don't want to give it away, so you guys have to
Okay.
watch. It's not too gory. My little thing isn't too gory.
On our next podcast, we'll have to review it.
Yes, we will.
Perfect.
I'm totally watching it.
Also, another passion of yours is decorating, and your mom, speaking of producing, did she produce your show Cyrus versus Cyrus?
She did. She's also an executive producer on that.
So explain the concept of the show. It's not happening again?
I don't want to say it's not because I guess we don't really know yet, but I don't think so. And I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about why or why not. But long story short, my mom, the way I love horses, like the way that's my like passion, like my mom's is design and decorating, and it always has been. And ever since I can remember, she's redesigned every house we've ever lived in every couple of years. She's done every apartment I've ever had. She helps Miley with all her houses. It's like her thing, and she's very good at it. And we've always told her, like, Mom, you need to have your own business or line or show or something.
Mm-hmm.
And because she's so busy managing Miley and Noah and doing all the things she does, she's never had time to do that for herself. So at her production company, somebody came to her with this idea and was like, I have a show idea, and it's for you and Brandi to compete in home design. And she asked me about it. And at that moment, I had just bought my first house. I bought a house here in Nashville that I gutted and redid all on my own. I mean, my mom helps me a little bit, but I really did most of it on my own. And
Cool.
my friend Sam Hunt had bought a new house, and I was helping him decorate.
Your friend Sam Hunt. That's your life, Brandi. That's amazing.
I decorated his
God,
house.
he's so hot.
He
He's so
decorated
hot.
Sam Hunt's house.
Oh my
cool.
God, that's so cool.
So I was like into this design thing, like pretty hot and heavy at the time. And so when my mom brought me the idea, I was like, heck yeah, like let's do this. This is like my mom's chance to make her dream come true, and I'm having fun with it. And I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't doing it with my mom, but like the opportunity to get to spend that time with her, I was excited about. So we did it. It was the hardest thing I've by far ever done in my entire life, as far as the hours and the work we put into it. But we were both really happy with the way it came out. And, even though that exact series may not happen again, we're trying to get something off the ground where we're still doing design and renovation, but we'd really love to do something with like a charity base to it, whether that's like rebuilding in Houston or Puerto Rico or doing something like
Extreme
Makeover Home Edition. That would be amazing for you guys.
So we would really love that. So that's what we're talking about.
Obviously, your family, is very similar to like the other, royal family in America that we keep up with every Sunday night. Is there a world where, there'd be a Keeping Up with the Cyrus family reality
that's a great
show?
idea.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, like
I'm sure you guys have been approached.
We were to ever do that. Oh yeah, we've been approached, and we've even. I mean, there's been a couple of times over the years where we've entertained it a little bit as a family, like talking about it. But I don't know. I would be shocked if it ever happened, just because I think that. I don't know. I just think that when you put yourself out there like that, you just open yourself up to letting what other people say about you and the crap people can make up, like put a wedge in between people. Like, I don't know, like couples that do TV shows. Like, I don't know. I think that when you put yourself in that position, you are putting yourself out there to be torn down.
Right.
And we all kind of feel that same way. And so I would be shocked if we ever did it, but I mean, I don't know. Never seen that.
Man. I know. It's so funny because I already see you guys like getting all that stuff. Like everyone thinks Miley's pregnant now. Like I wish people thought I was pregnant. I feel like that's
that Instagram yesterday.
So
she was just talking about her food
you guys
baby or something.
Yeah, well, she put it on her story and was like, "Rude! I'm just full of
She wore a baggy shirt, and all of a sudden you're pregnant
on Thanksgiving.
I would fuck with people all the time.
I would be so annoyed.
So it's just I don't know. I can't imagine. Like, the Kardashians, like that's their whole thing. Like that they have to do that show. That's how they make a living.
Right.
You guys
This
are
is
doing
your
it on your
thing.
own.
Yeah.
Right. What is Thanksgiving like at your family?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Well, this year I spent it pretty much by myself, which was actually incredible. If you guys have never done it,
that's my dream.
I literally did not see a soul until 5 p.m. yesterday, and then I had a Friendsgiving with some guy friends of mine. But
I saw those guys. I was like, who's that?
You guys trying to date those guys?
I mean,
I
if
don't know.
any of them are
Naz-
single,
Naz
send them
looks
my
at,
way.
looks at everyone
Oh
like
my
it
gosh.
could be an option.
Anyone with 2 legs could be.
That's
Actually, no, that
hilarious.
doesn't. That's rude to say. I would date a guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is rude.
That was really mean of me to say. That's not true.
Miley's birthday is sometimes it falls on Thanksgiving, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
it did this year. So I did feel a little guilty about not being there this year. But to be fair, they kept the issue is that this year, because Miley's on The Voice, the Thanksgiving really did revolve around her, and that's not always the case. But she literally had maybe 2 days off of working for Thanksgiving. So for her to fly all the way to Nashville was silly. But to be fair, she was entertaining that idea. She bought a house here about 4 months ago. And she's wanting to be here every minute that she can. And so the first plan was to stay in LA because of The Voice. And then the second plan was she was getting a jet and going to fly everybody here because she wanted to spend her birthday here. And so I was like, oh, that's great. I've been in LA so much this month. Like, all I want to do is go home. So I made a plan to come on back to Nashville. And then I get out to LA for my like little work stint. And they're like, oh, by the way, we're staying here. And I was like, all right, well, love you guys, but I'm going home because I have to go right back to LA next week. So I just wanted to be at home. So I opted out of Thanksgiving this year, but everybody's going to be here for Christmas, which is really great. And so that's usually how it is. Usually we're lucky if we get both holidays with everybody. Usually it's one or the other. And usually we shoot for Christmas just because everybody's got more time off and stuff.
Right.
But it's just really hard because my brother is on the road 300 days of the year in a band. And, my dad, everyone's just working all the time. And everybody wants to be at home in their house with their pets on holidays, which makes it even
so
harder.
true.
That's cute.
And so that's an argument too, is we've all got animals, and it's like, Miley's got the most. She's got like 8.
I know.
So she's like, well, I can't bring all 8.
I love that.
So it's just a lot. I don't know.
I always tell my mom that I'm going to have 5 dogs, and she's like, that's really, really messed up. And I'm like, but I should be like, well, as long as
Miley
you have
has a lot of
as long
animals.
as you have the money to
She's
take
got-
care
I
of
think
them,
she has-
open your house to all shelter animals.
Yeah, it's her house is like a zoo when you go over, but honestly, it's like an organized chaos. And between her and Liam, they've got a pretty good handle on it. So, it's funny.
I have my final 2 questions now.
Yeah.
What is something surprising that most people wouldn't know about the Cyrus family? The Cyrus family. Go.
Surprising. I mean, I always just say, like, people would be really shocked to hang out with us as a family, like as a group, because we're really like pretty boring. Like when we're all together, like when you asked me before, you're like, oh, think of funny stories. Like, I really can't think of any because we're pretty freaking normal compared to, I feel like, what people see of us, just because we all like have that. My friend David calls it show pony. Like, we all have that like show pony to us, to where we turn it on for cameras and we turn it on for work, and we can whip out the big personality when we need to on camera and on stage and whatever. But then when we're just like at home in our element, like, everyone's pretty calm, pretty laid back, and pretty chill.
I just
And
imagine
think
like all you girls have like I love your speaking voices. And it's just, you guys you have so much personality just in your voices. And I just hear like all these Cyrus voices talking.
so true.
Around like, the family
best
room.
voices that Ashley and I am you, Lauren. I feel like we have like deeper voices as girls, and we get so much like shit for it, but I love it.
Do you? I feel like that's like, now that's like a guys
It's a
like
thing.
that now,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Isn't that
Well,
like a
hopefully,
thing?
I don't know. I'm still single, so
Still single. You're right.
What is something surprising that we don't know about Sam Hunt?
Oh, Sam.
married.
He is married now.
So annoying.
Surprising about Sam. That's hard for me because, I mean, what's his persona to you guys? Like, what would you guys think Sam is like?
I just think he's a hot guy that like sings.
That's exactly what I think of him
I
as.
mean,
Yeah.
he is a hot guy that sings. Honestly, he's the most loyal person on the face of the earth. Like, if you're in his circle, like our friend group is like a family. And what's so cool about him, and something that really drew me into that friend group, is that the guys in his band, they have all been with him since day one. His manager used to tour in a van with him back in the day. Like, he is so loyal to the people in his circle. And I mean, I've seen him get in fights for friends at bars if someone says something the wrong way, or even strangers. Like, one time we were out at a bar in Nashville, and this girl got in our Uber and she was drunk and she totally was disoriented and didn't know what was going on. And these guys were trying to find her and say that she was with them or whatever. And Sam totally stood up for that girl and was like, absolutely not. Like, this girl's drunk. She needs to go home.
Can you imagine getting in an Uber drunk and Sam Hunt is in it?
Saves you.
Oh
That's
my
a story.
God.
That is a good story.
Actually, Justin Long saved my life one time.
Yeah, he made sure she got in her own Uber and went home. Like, he's just, I don't know, he's just such a good dude, and he really he's very perceptive about people. Like, he's very good at reading people, and he's just very, very loyal. I don't know. That's the biggest thing I can say about him.
I feel like he and his wife are the classic story of she knew him before he was famous, and then he clung on to her.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I met Sam when they were broken up, and there was never a day that went by that he didn't love her. Aww. Like, even though they weren't speaking, everybody just knew, that, he truly believed she was his soulmate and that they were meant to be. And, when he went after her, it all worked out, and look at him now. So,
and then finally, something that people should know about Wells Adams.
Wells. I don't know. I feel like I put him on. I feel like I put all his crap on blast on our own podcast, but I feel like Wells comes off as this bad boy, heartbreaker, whatever. But really, he's the softest, most sensitive, emo, little hopeless romantic on the face of the earth. You know what I mean? I feel like Ashley, you probably know that.
We'll take your word for that.
I can see it being there. I can see that being there.
Oh, it's there.
He's sensitive for sure.
My last question to you, Brandi, is I love asking celebrities who their celebrity crush is.
Oh gosh.
Who would you date?
Who should we set you up with?
Well, I always say the ultimate crush for me is Kevin Love, but he has a serious girlfriend.
Who's that?
He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, Brandi, I was gonna say, I obviously stalked you on Twitter and Instagram, but I love that you love the NBA so much. I feel like you love it as much as I do. Yeah, Kyrie Irving's killing it.
He's my other crush.
I know.
He's my other crush.
Great. All right. Well, Kevin Love is probably the hottest NBA player, so that's a good one.
He's only 6'10".
And
he's
only 6'10".
Brandi, I'm friends with his stylist, so maybe I can.
Are you okay? Well, so Kevin and I have Kevin's number.
What?
We've texted a little.
This is an advanced celebrity crush.
Yeah, this is an advanced celeb crush. All right. Well, let us know what happens.
I mean, he has a serious girlfriend right now, but him and his sister and I are Insta friends, and she rides horses too, and it's it's not like it's that far removed. It's just that he now has a very serious girlfriend, and I wouldn't be shocked if they end up married. No. But as far as my type goes, Kevin Love is the ultimate.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out.
All right, you are a great guest. You know what you're doing.
Guys.
You can talk very well. It's lovely to have guests on like that. Thanks, Brandi.
I can talk all day. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It was nice meeting you.
So interesting.
Yeah, I'll hit you guys up when I get back to LA next week.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, guys, seriously, one of our best guests.
Love her. She's so cool. I'm obsessed with her.
I'm obsessed with her. I want to be her friend.
You guys, I just want to talk like a Cyrus all day. Lauren and I, we never say, that's pretty cool. We go, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Is that how they say it?
Yeah, that's how Miley says it. That's how they make fun of her on SNL.
I just love their draw. And I love how she said, she normally, remember when she was I normally don't understand people with accents, but in a way they all kind of have one. Well, she doesn't have one, actually.
If she went to another country, then they would be oh, she has a goddamn accent.
But Miley actually has somewhat of a Southern accent. Yeah. Brandi doesn't.
Yeah.
That was interesting. She's great. I love her.
She's so cool. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please leave all the comments on our iTunes. Please tweet us all your thoughts.
Subscribe and rate topics, and review.
Rate, review. We love you so much.
We love you guys. You're the best.
You guys, you don't understand how much we appreciate the comments and the emails from you guys. And if you do want to email, don't forget, email your ghosting stories, email your big stories, email any suggestions to info@heartbrokenanonymous.com. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I don't get it. Podcast.